I must not fear. Fear is the mind killer. Fear is a little death that brings total obliteration. I will face my fear. I will permit it to pass over me and through me. And when it is gone, I will turn my inner eye to see its path. Where the fear is gone, there will be nothing. The eye will remain. Dune is a classic sci-fi novel written by Frank Herbert in the 1960s that is almost purely responsible for our modern obsession with science fiction films and books, inspiring epics like Star Wars, Star Trek, and countless others. You might have heard of them. It paved the way for geeks everywhere. One of the topics that Dune deals with very heavily is fear. One of the things I found interesting about Dune was the reverence for fear that was observed by even the strongest humans within the story. There is never any attempt by the characters to do away with their fear. They exist with them. As the quote says, they let fear pass over them and through them. The Bene Gesserit are masters of this idea, a faction of witches/political advisors within the story that are completely in tune with their own bodies, and even have the ability to extend their life through enzyme manipulation and control people with their voice. Yet fear remains. It is something that is beyond us, a primal instinct, a tide that cannot be fought, something so innate and powerful that it can transcend even the inability to fear. Don't believe me? Okay, you twisted my arm. I'll tell you the story. Patient SM. This incredible person has no functioning amygdala, the part of the brain that is responsible for developing fears from a preset of innate aversions that all humans are born with. Fear of heights, fear of loud noises, fear of drowning, etc. Due to a rare disease, her amygdala has deteriorated, and as a byproduct, she can no longer feel any fear whatsoever. A perfectly logical human. At first glance, this might sound pretty cool. I mean, who wouldn't want to be braver than the bravest? You literally wouldn't have to be afraid of anything. Never anxious, never stressed out about any situation, and immune to doubt. But fear evolved in humans for a reason. Because Patient SM has no ability to fear, she cannot tell when she's in danger. She could be in a completely detrimental situation and be completely oblivious to the fact, just continuing as usual. No fear response to give her a heightened perception or energy to run and fight. A perfectly logical human. Now that's some scary stuff. Several experiments were conducted on Patient SM to see if she could feel fear. Everything that would inspire a fear response in a normal person was tried, but to no effect. It appeared that she was in fact incapable of it. That was until suffocating was introduced. She volunteered to inhale large amounts of carbon dioxide in an experiment, and upon reaching a critical point in her blood, she began to panic uncontrollably. The scientists were shocked. Up to this point, nothing they had done had been effective enough to elicit a fear response, but for some reason, this one danger was too great for the body to ignore. They had managed to scare the unscarable. Researchers believed that the panic response that she experienced was initiated by the brainstem, a portion of the brain that is responsible for the more primal reactions. We don't really know though. Is fear something that transcends our mortal flesh? Or is it just another function of the human body? So now we have a general idea of the basis of fear. But what makes you feel it? That all familiar terror that most of us are burdened with? Well, adrenaline and cortisol, a perfect cocktail of chemicals that will both give you a surge of strength and a sense of urgency to give you the best chance of escaping whatever situation you've gotten yourself into. In most situations, this works great and will keep you alive or at least prevent you from doing something that is going to be life-threatening. Fear really is the only thing that prevents you from placing yourself in situations that would be detrimental to your health. If you aren't afraid of the ledge, chances are you will eventually get too close and lose your footing. Survival of the fittest type stuff. We are curious creatures. That is human nature after all. The real problem with fear arises when too much of it is introduced all at once. It will shut down your mind and body with amazing efficiency. The greater the danger, the more fear is experienced. Simple enough, I guess. Or is it? Fear seems to be subconscious to us. It will always rear its ugly head when it senses danger or pain on the horizon. A gnawing sense that something isn't right or you need to get out. Most of the time, it's nothing but imagination ensuring the security of your environment. But sometimes, it's very real. The danger to our bodies can be too much to take in. Often, this is the point where we begin to freeze or panic. The overload of cortisol drowns out any rational thought, and we become nothing but a sack of vulnerable meat. That isn't always the case, though. Some people seem to be immune to fear. In certain situations that would normally inspire fear in others, they feel alive and ecstatic. For an example, most humans seem to be afraid of heights, but for some people, heights are a place of comfort for them. They love to climb massive cliffs and structures just to get far above the ground. Makes complete sense, right? Some of these people even do it without climbing equipment. Just free balling life. Completely unfazed by the fact that their death is just a misplaced hand or foot away, or a badly timed gust of wind. The more fear, the more enjoyable it is for them. Adrenaline is a drug for some, and they will seek out more and more dangerous situations in order to one-up the last high. For the most part, they have made fear their ally. But not even the extreme are immune to panic. Eventually, in enough danger, cortisol will win its fight. It does every time. Managing this spike is hard, but it's not impossible. We will discuss it further at a later time. Another type of fear is the fear that's ingrained in us. Why did you behave as a child? Chances are you didn't stop yourself from breaking into the cookie jar because you wanted to. There was more than likely an ulterior motive. Whether it be a spanking or a grounding or them taking your Switch away, I don't know what the kids are into these days. Fear kept you out of that cookie jar. Fear of what would happen if you gave into your temporary cravings and broke the seal on that most sacred vessel of sweetness as Dad walked in. Fear of consequence is a cornerstone of our society. It's a pillar that all humans are raised on for the most part. It's what keeps us in line and civil. Nations try with all of their reasoning power to come to a peaceful conclusion because they are afraid. Afraid of war and what terrible atrocities are delivered alongside of it. Death, pain, suffering, etc. Some might look upon this completely natural construct negatively. They will say, our children shouldn't have to fear anything, or I don't want my child to be frightened. But how else would they learn to deal with fear? How else would they learn to coexist with society? Is man born selfless, or does he learn it? Fear of consequence is no different. It's a skill, one that is learned and practiced as well as reinforced by society all around us. We have to fear messing up, especially on a societal level. It is the only surefire way to keep the boat that we're all in floating and humanity moving forward.
Thank you for tuning in to part 1 of this series. I had a lot of fun making it, and I hope you enjoyed watching it. If you did enjoy it, please feel free to leave a like and comment. Thank you for tuning in, and good night.